Thank you very much for coming today. Energy is essential for life on Earth. Solar energy drives ecosystems on the Earth's surface, and chemical energy drives ecosystems down at the depths of the ocean. Energy is also fundamental to our civilization. Our energy infrastructure, especially our electricity infrastructure, has given our society tremendous benefits in terms of advancements in quality of life, in everything from sanitation to communications to transportation. We owe our generations of electrical engineers and utility workers a debt of gratitude for the tremendous achievement that they have in our electricity system. We derive great benefits from it. Here in Michigan, we get about 60% of our electricity from coal-fired power plants. Another 25% of our electricity comes from nuclear facilities, followed by natural gas, hydroelectric, biomass, and a little bit of wind energy. The American Society, or the Association of American Civil Engineers, puts out a report card on our infrastructure each year. The Society found that Michigan's energy infrastructure earned a C-. It functions, but it needs some work. There's room for improvement. They found that our electricity infrastructure, especially our fossil fuel infrastructure, is on average 49 years old. This means half of our coal plants were built decades before the Clean Air Act, before the Beatles landed in America, and some of them were built before Sputnik was launched. We need to do better. The age of our fossil fuel plants and their relative neglect means that they're more polluting than other sources as well. That pollution includes mercury emissions, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, particulates. This pollution affects the quality of the Great Lakes and our environment, it affects human health, and it's affecting our climate. In 2002, the Joyce Foundation issued a survey. They asked residents of the Great Lakes states what their attitudes were towards the Great Lakes. And in Michigan residents were more likely to feel a personal responsibility towards protecting the Great Lakes. This is much more so than residents of other states. They see the Great Lakes as vast and vulnerable resources. So we've got this problem. We have an old energy infrastructure that's impacting the quality of the Great Lakes. And here in Michigan, we Michigan residents find a personal responsibility to protecting the Great Lakes. So here's our challenge. We need to build an energy infrastructure that improves the quality of the Great Lakes and enhances the quality of life for Michigan communities. I'm working with colleagues here at Grand Valley at the Annis Water Resources Institute and the Seidman College of Business, and some graduate and undergraduate students as well, on a project called the West Michigan Wind Assessment. This project is funded by Michigan Sea Grant, and we're trying to find out if wind can play a role in this 21st century infrastructure. Can wind help enhance the quality of life in Michigan communities and improve the quality of the Great Lakes by reducing pollution? We're working with the public on a journey together to understand the science in the environment, in social dimensions, and in economics, integrating all that together and communicating that to citizens and policymakers in a 4-county area of West Michigan. Our study area includes Oceana County, Muskegon County, Ottawa County, and Allegan County. Now, it's a broad project, so I just want to tell you a little bit about it one particular activity we've done. It's called the Delphi Inquiry for offshore wind. Our project is analyzing the benefits and challenges of wind in both onshore and offshore, but this Delphi Inquiry just looked at offshore issues. A Delphi Inquiry combines expert knowledge and opinion and judgment to arrive at an informed group consensus on a complex problem. There are no offshore wind farms anywhere in the Western Hemisphere, so we don't have a lot of experience with offshore wind. So it takes a little bit of judgment and forecasting in people's expert domains in policy and in business and in advocacy. We brought this group together virtually through an internet-based survey for this Delphi Inquiry. And we facilitated a discussion on under what conditions would offshore wind energy be appropriate or acceptable. In the first round of our survey, we asked an open-ended question. Under what conditions do you think it would be acceptable? What do you see as the primary benefits of offshore wind energy to your communities? What do you see as the primary challenges that need to be addressed before wind energy can be considered acceptable? So the first round, we had open-ended questions. In the second round, we collated those first round answers, and then we let the participants vote on everybody's answers. So we ranked them, and then we pulled them together. The participants voted on what their top benefits were and what their top concerns. We tried to funnel the group down to a few statements where there was a group agreement. And this idea of consensus is very important. If you were following the news this summer, there was a proposed project in Lake Michigan, and the wind developers asked the local communities for a thumbs up or thumbs down decision. That type of decision-making immediately polarized the community into two camps, those that were for it and those that were against it. And that was very disruptive to community harmony. So our approach was a little different with this Delphi Inquiry. We're trying to find the areas of common ground. And we did find common ground. Mostly, the group agreed on what some of the important challenges were. There wasn't much consensus on what the benefits of offshore wind energy is. So the key challenges that the group identified were visibility, project cost and life cycle cost, and utility rate impacts. And there were some others, but I'll just talk about those three for right now. If wind energy development is going to be considered acceptable, we have to address the visibility concerns. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot that we can do about that. Utility scale wind turbines, the present ones are 300 to 400 feet tall, and some of the ones that are in development, prototypes, are up to 600 feet tall with the blade fully extended. So you're not going to hide these anyplace. And here, especially in Lake Michigan, the water depth gets deep. The water gets deep very quickly. So you can't site the wind farms too far offshore. They have to be relatively close, and you're going to be able to see them no matter what. 6 miles seems to be strike a reasonable balance in most people's minds about the trade-offs between the visibility and the cost and the depth. So to visualize this, think about a trip to the beach you took this past summer. You're sitting out on the beach, and out on the horizon, there are wind farms. A wind farm at 6 miles, and everybody can do this sitting right here, put up your thumb and hold out your arm. A utility scale wind turbine would be about the size of your thumbnail at a distance of 6 miles. So you can imagine that the wind turbine would be about the size of your thumbnail out there at 6 miles. You'll be able to see it most days you go to the beach. But is that an acceptable trade-off? Is that impact acceptable. That's for the communities to decide. Project cost and life cycle cost is definitely a concern. Offshore wind is more expensive than onshore wind. It's about 50% more expensive. And that's basically due to the additional construction costs for the foundation. But there are advances in technology that might allow that construction cost to come down. And finally, utility rate impacts. We don't have any projects that are in that stage right now, but if we learn some lessons from the Cape Wind project and others in Europe, the additional cost to a family's household electricity bill, according to Cape Wind's estimates out in Massachusetts, would be about $1.25 per month for offshore wind. So again, it's going to cost more, but is that an acceptable trade-off to protect our Great Lakes and to enhance the quality of life for coastal communities? So we have to make big decisions, as the gentleman said in the video, and as David Bell was talking earlier about the life cycle of our infrastructure. The buildings we're putting up today are going to last 20 or 30 years. The energy infrastructure that we're building today is going to last 20, 30, maybe 50 years. We have to think very carefully about the choices that we make and understand the trade-offs. If there's one thing you learn or take home with you today, remember that there is no such thing as a zero-impact energy source. Every one of our electricity sources has some kind of impact, and wind is no exception. Wind energy can reduce environmental impacts by avoiding emissions from coal. That can lead to better health outcomes. It can lead to improvements in the environment, but that's going to come at a cost of a financial cost and the visibility trade-off. So wind can be, in our judgment, wind can play a role in enhancing or building this 21st century infrastructure that increases the quality of the Great Lakes by reducing those mercury emissions, and it can enhance the quality of life for coastal communities through economic development and reducing health costs. So thank you very much, and I look forward to hearing the rest of the speakers.